Hey guys, and welcome back. My name's Ohaple, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about adjusting to Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. The way this game plays is quite a bit different from previous Call of Duty games, which were more on a kind of two-dimensional, one-level type playing field, now to where we have these exosuits, all this exo movement where we're getting on roofs and everything else. So what you're looking at is some gameplay from friend of the channel, OMGWTFL0LZ. You can check out her channel down in the description. She had asked that I kind of critique her because she hasn't been having a lot of fun on the game yet, and it's partly, I think, because she's having a hard time adjusting to the new playstyle. First thing I wanted to look at is her class. She's using the AK-12, specifically an AK-12 variant, with a second assault rifle as her secondary. I think it's the HP3, but these are both mistakes, kind of. The variant of the AK-12 she's using has increased handling and decreased accuracy, and handling only helps out your hipfire spread, while accuracy is obviously things like recoil. And so in this instance, the variant that she's using is actually worse than just the default one. So on this, first thing I would recommend is for her to go back to the default AK-12 and not use this one, because you don't really need the extra handling, but you could use that extra accuracy. You don't want to lose that. I feel like this is a tendency I see with a lot of people, is they get some elite variant. Just because it says elite, that doesn't mean it's better, that just means it's more rare. A lot of times the elite variants are actually way worse than the stock ones. Sometimes the sniper rifles will have like +3 damage. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but that still doesn't help you get any more one-hit kills, so it's actually a waste and you're actually taking away from some of your other stats. That's definitely the case here. I wouldn't run a second AR. I mean, by running that overkill to get 2 primary weapons, you're wasting 2 of your 13 slots, and having 2 assault rifles doesn't gain you anything. If you want to run a sniper as a secondary, if you want to run a pistol backup, if you want to run a shotgun backup, something that holds a different role in the game, that's certainly understandable. But the only reason I could really see to justify having an extra AR is if you're worried about running out of ammo, but we already have perks and stuff to cover that. So I wouldn't run 2 ARs at the same time. Definitely take that off. Swap back to the standard AK-12. Another thing I noticed here that's kind of a minor thing somewhat is that she is using colorblind mode, and I know she's not colorblind. To me, that's personally pretty distracting if I were to be playing. I find that the pink really stands out on the screen, and it's visually distracting to me, so when I'm trying to spot enemies, which are all these, greens and grays and blacks, my eyes want to go directly to these bright pink spots on the map, anywhere there's flames or whatever, and that causes me to kind of visually miss these more subtle characters that are running around. So, I don't know, that's a consideration. I know she likes the way it looks, but to me, it's harder to visually spot targets. Next up for perks, I mostly like her perk setup. You definitely want low profile, but the one that she has on that's kind of confusing to me is she's got hardwired on, and that's the 3rd tier perk. To me, the only 3rd tier perks that are worth having, and they're almost like a necessity, you probably want to have blast suppressor on. That makes it so that when you're using your exosuit abilities, you don't show up on radar. That's pretty much a must. Additionally, if you're not going to run that, or you want to run 2 of them, toughness isn't a bad choice either, though it's not needed. But I definitely would have on blast suppressor instead. Now with all the class stuff out of the way and all the kind of setting stuff out of the way, I don't see her having a lot of problems anymore with any other game than with any other game as far as her aim goes. It seems like her sensitivity is set fairly right for her, but I will say she's not playing it like Advanced Warfare. She's playing it like Ghosts or like Black Ops. And what I mean by that is she's not taking advantage of the height differences in the map. You'll see right here she just ran through that door. She's running along this bottom space. Right where she is right now, she could be seen from that roof to her left, that roof from in front of her, the roof from behind her, or any of 3 areas on the ground. So she just exposed herself to essentially like 7 or 8 different main lines of sight, and that's not something you often want to do. If you can stick to the tops of the maps, you minimize where you're exposed. Now she's really only exposed to 2 lines of sight where she's standing now, the one where she's facing and the one on the roof behind her. So by sticking to the tops of the maps, unlike previous Call of Duties where the rule was really stick to the edges of the map, now the rule is stick to the top of the map and the edges of the map if possible, but really the height advantage almost takes precedent over the edge advantage since these maps are so small. Also, I see that she's not really using her exo movement abilities as much as she could be. To me, this is a game where having a scuff controller might be a huge benefit because you're just like constantly clicking that A button. I probably click that A button hundreds and hundreds of times every session, and that's really a place where a scuff controller or something similar could really be a benefit instead of having to move your right thumb off the stick all the time. It's not a necessity, and I'm not like sponsored by Scuff or anything, but it's something I do see as being more beneficial in this game than in previous. So that could be useful, because what you might not know if you haven't done it before, but you can just click the jump button and then use your forward dash, and that actually allows you to get a quick boost forward. So instead of just sprinting, you can move forward even faster than a normal sprint. So that can help you get to your destination faster, and then you can just keep clicking those double jumps and everything else to help you get up to roofs. A few times in this game, I know that she uses like an old style Ghosts mantling, where she actually like single jumps and then mantles up stuff where she could easily just double jump and boost forward and get up in like half the time. So definitely take more advantage of those exo abilities. Those are going to be very, very helpful to you. Next up, considering how she's playing with her kill streaks, I think it's good that she has support on them. Personally, I think that recon drone or whatever it's called is pretty useless. I don't like to have to control that. So if I'm going to be running support streaks, I'm running the care package, I'm running the sentry gun, and I am running the UAV. And I see that she only has support on these for her attachments. I would definitely add some more stuff on there. Instead of just running UAV, maybe run the UAV support with extra assist points. Because even though that adds a little bit to what it takes to earn it, it then takes a lot away from what it takes to earn your next streak. So you can use those attachments on your kill streaks really to your advantage. Then when I'm using the care package, I use better odds and double tap with support. And that makes it so that even though it takes like 1,400 points or something like that to earn it, you're very likely to get, you know, a Goliath or a warship or just something really good out of a support kill streak by using double tap and better odds and support on your care package. Kind of the last thing I wanted to talk about is the line of sight awareness in this game. And there's not any specific moments I can really point to in this game, but it's something I just noticed overall, is the areas that she's usually looking out for are the areas that people would usually come from in one of the older Call of Duty games, where you're standing in a room and there's two doorways, you're sure that they're going to come through one of those two doorways, and so you're not really worried about it. Right now, she might be watching to the right, watching down the street to the left, but in reality, her biggest threat is most likely from the roof above her, which she doesn't even have in her sights. So you want to make sure that you're watching lines of sights that you might not ordinarily. You know, if you're next to this building that's to her bottom left, you don't only need to look to the sides of the building, but somebody can easily jump over that building in just like 2 seconds or less. So you need to be able to watch above the building as well. So you really have to do a different form of watching your lines of sight than in previous Call of Duties. You can't just watch the 2 lines of sight. You now have to be ready for pretty much anything. Additionally, when I see her leading targets, she's expecting them to move like a character in Ghosts, to be maybe doing a 6-inch jump or strafe back or forth. But in reality, in this game, when you play against good players, they're going to be exo dashing side to side. They're going to be boosting. They might try to jump over your head, because that's actually fairly hard to counter if your sensitivity isn't high enough, because you have to aim all the way up in the air. So they might dash over your head and try to shoot you from behind, stuff like that. And she's not often ready for those movements. She's just trying to watch for their general strafing. So you definitely need to make sure not only to use exo more yourself, but to be ready in gunfights for them to use exo. That's about all I have. Just be careful about how your class is set up, and make sure to wear out that A button. Just be using your exo abilities with blast suppressor so they don't see where you're at, and just make sure to be boosting all around the map. It really makes you harder to hit. Right there, she could have dashed to the left a little bit, and he might not have gotten the kill on her. So by being unpredictable with your exo movements, you can move faster, you can get more kills, and generally stay alive longer. So those are just some tips that I had for her and for anyone else that maybe is having a hard time adjusting from the old style of Call of Duty to now this, which is more fast-paced because of the movement speed and the small maps. It's really, you do have to play it a little bit differently. You can't just sit watching 2 lines of sight anymore, or else you're either going to get a low score or you're going to die a lot. Make sure to like, favorite, and subscribe if you did enjoy it. I always enjoy bringing this content for you. I've been having a lot of fun on Advanced Warfare. Looking forward to playing some more ranked play this weekend. Hope to see you guys on my channel soon, and I will talk to you later. Bye.
fault, gents. I knew we hired you for a reason.